Ralph Wiggum. You probably have seen this all over social media, but you might not know what it is, how it works, or how to actually use it. Don't worry, in this video I'm going to explain exactly what it is, how it works, and how you can use it step by step, plus a few tips that I've learned while playing with it. At its core, Ralph is a technique for prompting agents. You can think of it as a loop that lets you keep prompting an agent in an efficient way so you can get better results over time. So instead of asking the agent to do one huge task all at once, you let it tackle smaller tasks continuously over a long period of time. Eventually, this allows the agent to ship a large feature or even build new software from scratch. Let's see it in action. AI is a huge enabler for those who already know how to code. If you want to master React Native, React, TypeScript, Git, check out my courses at codebases.dev. I'm going to leave the link in the description with a nice promo code. And I'm happy to announce that I'm working on a revamp of my React Native course. I'm going to be updating it to be compatible with Expo SDK 55, liquid class design, and all the latest and greatest. So right now, it's a good time to get in. And by the way, we also offer PPP. For more info, you can send me an email. A lot of AI companies have been experimenting with long-running agents. Some of the ones I'm aware of are Cursor, Anthropic, OpenAI, and some other AI enthusiasts. I'll leave the links in the description in case you're curious and want to learn more, especially this one from Anthropic, Effective Harness for Long-Running Agents. But I also recommend that you check out this one from Cursor, Scaling Long-Running Autonomous Coding. In this article, they actually talk about a very long-running task. They basically prompt an agent to create a browser from scratch and let it run for close to a week, as you can see here. So pretty crazy stuff. Of course, we don't have that money. We're going to be doing smaller tasks in this video, but pretty crazy to see the results and how this technique is going to improve over time. Also, in case you're curious, the Ralph movement was basically started by Geoffrey Huntley, and this is the original Ralph Wiggum blog post. It was actually introduced last year in July. It's been a while, but now it's going viral. So this is the guy that basically came up with the idea of creating a bash loop that keeps prompting Claude or any AI agent until it finishes, right? So if you take this idea of creating a bash loop and also take a look at this blog post from Anthropic where they lay down their experience in long-running agents and what worked best for them. And they came up with the idea of having a featured list. And they said that the JSON format works best because an agent is less likely to update the JSON because it comes with a specific structure that looks like this. Basically, you have a list of features, and these features are just objects with a category, description, and the steps the agent needs to take to tackle the task. And then we have a flag, which is the only field that the agent is authorized to update once the task is complete. Something very important is that they really highlight that it's a good idea to add a step to verify the feature. So we need a bash loop and a list of features. And by the way, I want to say that I took this bash script from Matt Pocock. He actually created a similar video, and I would encourage you to check it out after watching this video. He actually explains this topic really well with diagrams, and yeah, make sure to check it out. Now, let's see the code. These are the to-do list that I came up with. I'm going to be using my AI tattoo application, by the way. If you're interested in the source code, it's available for pro members at codebases.dev. Make sure to check it out. And I came up with this fairly complex idea of creating a prompt history because my users are prompting to create tattoos. And sometimes, you're going to type a very long prompt, but the issue with the app at the moment is that once you hit submit, you are going to lose the prompt. And let's say that you didn't like the result. You can actually use the same prompt and get a different result. At the end of the day, we're using Nano Banana. But there's no way to reuse the previous prompt because at the moment we are not saving it. So I want to use Expo SQLite to save this in a way that is going to be very scalable and I can actually reuse it. So I came up with the idea to ask Claude to create a package that is going to make Expo SQLite reactive. But basically we are breaking this into 3 steps and I'm calling it category infrastructure. So we're going to need to implement CRUD operations and type safety. I was thinking that maybe you could use Maestro test so that the agent creates a Maestro flow that can corroborate that the UI works as expected. But I'm not going to dive into that in this video. I want to keep it simple. So hopefully this is going to work. Then I also have this to-do item for adding reactivity with React 19 because, now we have some cool stuff like suspense, use, activity. So hopefully I'm also adding the link to the documentation. So hopefully the agent can leverage React 19. And then once the package is ready, I'm creating a to-do item to actually use the package to create the schema for the prompts history. And then we break down more tasks like add the history system image button to the input component. So my idea is to have like a little button here in the input that is going to be like a time clock that you can press, and then it's going to open a bottom sheet similar to the tools that you can see here. But you can select the prompt, right? So the last one that you use should be at the very top. And then when you press it, we dismiss and just set the prompt. It's basically like when you select remove tattoo or remove tattoo. Yeah, actually that is going to prompt me to select an image with a tattoo. But basically the idea is that after you select, you get the prompt here and you submit it again. I want to implement swiped to left to have more actions. And I've done this before. So I took an example from my shopping list application and I added as a reference inside my folder plans. This is just a long string that shows basically how to use reanimated swipeable from gesture handler. It's a really nice component that allows you to basically swipe left and show some controls. So as you notice, this is a long change. Just because I want to have prompt history, we suddenly have a bunch of items that we need to tackle here. So the idea is that you need to break down these items into smaller tasks. It actually took me a while to come up with a coherent series of steps that would, in my mind, allow me to achieve this implementation in a scalable manner and in a clean way. Okay, so we have our list of features and basically the agent is going to iterate over them and then just pick the most important one and work on that single feature. After that, we want the agent to commit the changes. So before I start doing stuff, I'm going to create a new branch so that in case we don't like these changes, we can revert easily. So I'm going to call this Claude add prompt history. All right, and now the agent is going to work in this branch and the agent can commit stuff. Now, let's check out the ralph.sh file. This is the loop that we're going to be using. This flag tells bash to exit immediately if anything fails. Then we have a check and we're checking for this variable, which is the number of iterations. If we call this script without that parameter, it's going to basically exit with 1 and show in the console that we need to pass the number of iterations that we want to do. This is great because we are not using a while loop, we're using a for loop. A for loop is going to have a number of iterations, right? Max number of iterations is not going to go forever. This is good for, individuals like us, because if you do a while loop and then go to sleep, it might use a lot of tokens. So right now I can call this with the number of items that I have here. Okay, so we have 11 items. So I'm going to call this script with 11 iterations. And then for each iteration, we're going to print the iteration number, and then we're going to call Claude with the P flag. The P flag basically is going to print the response and exit. This is also useful because the trust dialog is going to be skipped when you call Claude. And then we have the permission mode to accept edits because, we don't want to do anything manually. We want to let the agent do everything. And then we pass the to-do list and the progress.tsx file. The to-do list is this one, and then the progress is just an empty TSX file where the agent is going to be appending the changes for each feature. So first of all, we tell the agent to find the highest priority feature to work on and work only on that feature. This is important because the agent is going to be like a new instance of an agent and the context window is going to be fresh. So they can just take a look at what was done recently by checking Git and also do and tackle the next to-do item that makes more sense. after the agent is done, it needs to update the to-do list.json with the work that was done, and then append your progress to the progress.tsx file. This is good because the agent can also use that as context of what was previously done. Use this to leave a note for the next person working in the codebase. This is great. Make a git commit of the feature. Only work on a single feature if, while implementing the feature, you notice the to-do list JSON is complete, output promise complete. This is good because then we can validate the this early exit basically. So while we are iterating, we're going to check if the result contains the promise complete. Then in that case, that means that the to-do list.json is complete, and now we're going to exit the for loop. And this TT is actually a notification that Matt added to his script. We actually don't need it. I'm just going to delete it. But you can actually, call something here to notify you that the agent is done. So that's basically it. This is the loop. Now let's actually run it. Let's call ralph.sh. And we said that we had, I think, 11 iterations. So let's pass 12. I'm going to hit enter. Oh, and this is inside plans, ralph.sh. 12 iterations. Here we go. Permissions denied. We need to give the script permissions. So we are going to run this command and then run the plan again with 12 iterations. Here we have it, guys. Here we go. Pray for my credits. I'll see you in a moment. Alrighty, guys, so we are done with the iterations. According to Claude, everything is done. It didn't actually did what I asked for. It didn't create the package as I was hoping. According to Claude, a better solution or more pragmatic, which is just using directly SQLite instead of creating a wrapper. But it said that you could actually abstract it if you really wanted to. So if we take a look at the list of to-dos, now all of them said passes. It's equal to true. And here we have the notes from the agent. So session 1, what happened, what was done. It created the prompt history, the VTS, and all these things. This is a very long list. I mean, not that long. Actually, the change didn't really consume a lot of my credits. I had $30. Now I have close to 29. So let's say that this cost me around $1. It actually exited earlier, I think, because it was iteration 8. I said 11, but it completed them before since it didn't create the package that I was asking for. But I don't know. Let's see if this actually works. I'm going to compile the application. All right, guys, I'm compiling the application. Let's see if this actually works. And this is actually running on my real device because I'm using RevenueCat and it's hard to test on simulator. So let me sign in. So the app is not crashing, which is good. That tells you something. And I need to restore my purchases, I think. By the way, in case you're curious about this application, the source code is available for Pro members at codebases.dev. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. All right, now I have my subscription. Let's see if we have, prompt history. Ooh, okay. We have a new icon, and I'm going to review this code really well because this application, it's actually in production. And if you are curious about just checking it out, I'm gonna leave the link to download it on the App Store. And it's making money. It's making $120 per month at the moment in subscriptions. Of course, not all the money is profits. It's like we're keeping around 40% margin because we're using Nano Banana and it's actually pretty expensive. But anyways, let me press on the prompt history. All right. This is using the form sheet as I intended. This is really cool. Okay. And notice that it brings up the keyword. So we have the prompt history. Now we need to adjust the detents to be maybe like this height. It's 0.4 of the screen, I think. Now let me actually prompt something. I'm just gonna take one of the suggestions here and submit it. Okay, so here we have it. This is my tattoo. From here I can save it. There we go. Okay, let's see if we have the prompt. Awesome. Here's a prompt. Okay. Cool. That's good. Let's see if I can swipe left. Ooh, nice. So this is not perfect, like I said, but let's see if I can edit it. Perfect. So it created a modal. So I can update the prompt here, hit save, and yeah, cool. Let's delete style, for example. Let's see. So the animation feels good. Okay, it works. Swipe right. It seems that we have the add to favorites there, but it's hard to access. And this is essentially how you can use Ralph today to do this kind of crazy stuff. At the end of the day, I don't have the results that I really wanted, but I have the core functionality working. So it's a matter of me keep iterating on this feature and actually ship it. Definitely this is something cool to explore, especially if you are building something new from scratch or you just want to create an MVP. You can actually let it run an entire night. And in my case, for example, I have $30 in credits. So the worst case scenario is that I run out of $30 and the process is going to stop. But it's a good experiment. This is how you can use Ralph. I hope you like this video. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. Let me know if you like this type of AI stuff. And if you want me to create any specific video, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.